My daughter has gotten sick quite a few times, and we've been hospitalized for days at a time.
Honestly, I've never tolerated customers being extremely rude. I never did.
I had this perception that I was not going to be able to be in the business world anymore.
SaaS businesses that put extreme pressures on their teams to deliver by X day or Y day is complete bollocks. You're watching the Misfit Founders podcast, a raw conversation about the challenges of building businesses, overcoming hardships, and also feeling out of place. I'm Biro, an exited founder, investor, and advisor who failed quite a few businesses in the past. My mission with Misfit Founders to help at least one founder every single month by unveiling the authentic stories of other founders and providing guidance and support. So I hope you enjoy the podcast today and get useful insights out of it. And if you do join the conversation on our WhatsApp community, where we discuss topics like this one, in this podcast, in group, as well as private sessions. Link in the video description. Also, please subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you get notified when we publish new videos.
Right.
Awesome.
This is going to be fun.
So, again, don't worry about cameras or anything like that.
I'm in front of cameras all day from my living.
We're having a discussion.
Okay.
We're not talking to the audience. They don't exist.
I'm going to be looking straight into the souls of the people.
It's like, no, get away. This is a private conversation right here.
I have no fear of cameras, so you're good. I actually like being in the camera.
I know. We work together, remember?
Did you start already?
Yes.
Oh.
So all of this is going to be on camera.
Oh, shoot. Oh, my gosh.
Thank you for joining me.
Of course.
Honestly, I'm so excited because when I started this, honestly, and I'm not BSing you, I was thinking about you as one of the founders to come join.
Thank you.
Mainly because I followed your journey. We worked together and I also followed your journey, and I'm so impressed with a lot of your story and a lot of your growth and a lot of your presence online, on social media, on Product Hunt and all that stuff. You know, we shared a couple of thoughts around that. So to get us started, quickly introduce yourself and give me the elevator pitch of what your Videodeck is.
I'm Helena, and I'm the co-founder of Videodeck. We create videos for SaaS companies, people who want to get into videos. We create the videos from start to finish. So we film, edit, and return the videos within 10 days. So we have a really quick turnaround. And we help make product tours, turning ebooks into video, and basically anything video related, we can create it.
So things like talking head, product demos, walkthroughs, all of this stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I've we've worked together on some of our products.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
And that was in the very early days when we weren't even that much into video content, and I was so impressed with the quality and the professionalism of the videos that you were doing.
And that was a long time ago, which is so funny because you were actually kind of where we realized like, oh shoot, this could actually become like a productized agency. Because at first, when we started Videodeck, before we even started, it was just a freelance project. It was a one-time video creation for a SaaS company my husband was working for at the time. And then luckily my name was on the video, and you wrote me on Instagram and you were like, hey, is this a service that you offer? Do you write videos? And I was talking to my husband. I was like, this is a service that we offer. And so that was kind of like where we started, and we realized like this is a service that people need.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Are you kidding?
Because I messaged you on Instagram and you felt so confident. It's like, I do freelancing.
Exactly. I was, of course, I got to take advantage of the opportunity.
Exactly. But that was the moment when you were like,
It absolutely, I don't know if Andre, who's my husband and also co-founder, he might have thought of this beforehand, but when you wrote me, I was actually just copywriting and freelancing and just doing like one-off jobs at home. And when you wrote me, I was making videos for myself at the time. I loved it. And then I was like, wait, I could make this passion a career and a business and expand this. And so when you wrote me, I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. We can make videos for you. That's what we do.
I'm interesting how that works. So when I wrote you about doing videos, like talking head demo videos for us, were you just instantly like from an instinct, like yeah, definitely, I don't want to miss this opportunity? Or did you had a chat with Andre or your partner and had like, right, should we do this? Should we get
Oh
into
no,
this?
it was like
It was an
it
instant,
was a full body yes. It was like,
right?
if this is something I can do, then I want to do this. It was
Mm,
the first time that I was super excited about a job. I
mm,
was like, okay, because up until then I had just kind of dipped my feet into the tech world. I've been in so many different fields, like from being in medical school, starting my own hair salon business, and then starting my own YouTube channel when I realized, okay, I can get paid for something that I actually like to do.
yeah.
I was thrilled. And then I just jumped right in. I was nervous. When you wrote me, I was like, I don't know if he's going to like it. And then you gave me a lot of pointers too. It was super helpful because you were sending me storyboards, and when I sent the video back to you, you gave me so many pointers like, okay, let's do a little bubble head in the bottom right corner. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. So that was definitely a learning experience. And that's where it started. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy to think that I had a contribution
You
to you
did.
starting
You did.
Videodeck.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Right. So, but from then onwards, so I know that we were one of your first customers. Second
Yeah.
customer, yes, after the previous company. How did things unfold from there, right? When you realized, okay, right, I need to get more customers. I want to make this a full-time job. How did that unfold it?
So we were taking on a lot of individual projects at that time. Once we started sharing more on LinkedIn and on social media, people were coming to us and asking us, like, is this a service? And then starting to recommend us by word of mouth. Then we realized, okay, this is definitely something that we can expand on and something that we can make possible. So at that time, we had a third co-founder, and Andre and our other co-founder decided to make a website. And then we were like, okay, let's launch on Product Hunt. And so it actually came at probably the worst possible time to launch on Product Hunt. When we decided we were going to make this a business, I was 8 months pregnant. We were trying to finish
Right,
our house.
yes.
We had so many things going on in the background. And then the day that we launched, in the morning, things were fine. And at the end of the night, we were in the hospital with my newborn baby.
The day that you launched.
The day we launched, we were getting
Wow.
like tons of comments, and we were supposed to be replying. You know, those first few hours on Product Hunt are so important for engagement. And we were in the waiting room of the hospital. We were like, oh my gosh, this is the worst.
Well, you know what? You can say that you had two babies.
Yes. Yeah,
that day.
absolutely. Absolutely. So the way that it got started was just like I said, we realized that this was a real opportunity. And so the two co-founders at the time, they were just day and night figuring out how we were going to do this. We made a website, we did the Product Hunt launch, and then just actually some of our biggest customers came from Product Hunt itself.
From the Product Hunt launch.
Yes.
That's really interesting, because when you think of Product Hunt and when I saw your launch there, I don't know if I might have had a discussion with you about it as well. I was really curious on how that's going to work, because Product Hunt is known for a lot of the actual product SaaS software products. You don't see that many service products being launched. So I'm really surprised that worked. What do you reckon was the ingredient that contributed the most to the success of your campaign?
I think it's because of our target audience. It is B2B companies, SaaS companies. So when they saw it, they were like, this is exactly what we need. Especially when we started about 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. That's when Reels were getting really popular and people were trying to dive into the video space. But you know, making videos it can be as simple or as extreme as you want it to be.
Yeah.
But if you want to create really high quality content with a good spokesperson, videos that people actually want to binge watch and not just boring Loom videos of like, here, click here, you know, make it more engaging, something people actually want to watch. It can be very difficult. You need the gear, you need the studio setup, you need someone who actually likes being in front of a camera. So when we presented this to potentially thousands of SaaS companies seeing us that day. They were reaching out to us, and people remember us even from a year ago. I always ask when I'm on sales call, I say, hey, how'd you find out about us? Like more than 70% of the time, they're like, product hunt. I'm like, wow.
That is, I think you're like, I just realized that when you were mentioning, yes, you're right. Because basically every single community member on Product Hunt is a SaaS product owner or marketer and so on. So basically it was your right audience.
It was perfect.
More right audience than a lot of the products that get launched there.
Yeah, possibly.
Because fundamentally, a large portion of the community of product hunters are product makers themselves. So more often than not, they would look at the product, oh, that's cool, right? But getting a service, so getting a service specifically, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and then we started doing a lot. We actually love helping like startups and helping the community. So we started doing monthly giveaways. And so we were helping brand new startups make their product videos. And in turn, giving that kindness, they give the kindness of spreading the word of who made the video. And so it's just like a really beautiful cycle. That's what's been working for us.
And how did you manage to balance that? Because, doing anything for free, and especially a service like this, which requires a lot of energy, right? You're literally spending your hours in producing a product, a polished product for a startup, and they're getting it for free. They're not paying. How did that work? How did you balance actual paid work with this?
So a lot of months we lost, especially at the beginning stages. I actually was questioning Andrea. I was like, why are we giving away thousands of dollars for free? Like, we need to be trying to make money, not lose money.
Yeah.
But what actually was happening was a lot of times people don't want to work with us because it's too good to be true. I have had 2 or 3 calls where people actually asked, is this too good to be true? Like, are you actually going to deliver? And after we give the product, they're like, I thought that this was going to be a scam, because the pricing is just not extravagant compared to a lot of our competitors. So it's like night and day pricing. And so when people see that, they think, okay, this is not real. And so a lot of people were not working with us at the time because they thought it was too good to be true. And so when we would give these one-off videos, they would end up ordering more because we would deliver on time, we delivered on our promise, and they would order more videos in the long run.
And who's the salesperson in your family?
So it's it feels
I'm saying family because it's kind of like a family business, right?
It's like a mom and pop shop.
Yeah.
So we feel like we have 20 people in our company, but it's really just me and my husband. And so we wear all the hats. I take all of the sales calls, and I also manage all of the accounts and all of the clients and the editors. So I feel like I'm running all these different roles.
Mm-hmm. And what do you like the most out of all of the hats that you're wearing?
Yeah, at the beginning, sales calls felt like the death of me. I was so nervous. I had never been in sales before. Actually, I had like 1 month of experience in sales, but it was all over email. So it was a lot of negotiating for social media for a different SaaS company. And so I had like the tiniest bit of experience. So my first call, I literally studied a script the night before for like 2 hours, just practicing my questions.
You had a script?
Oh, I have a script. Yes, I had a 2-page script. I memorized that thing. And so at the beginning, I would just follow the script, the questions, and then even when they would reply, I wouldn't even know how to answer because I had my questions, but I didn't really have like the responses to the answers, So I'd be like,
because
okay,
it's impossible.
Great.
Like, how would you know what they're going to respond?
So I'd be like, what's your pain point here? Like, why do you need videos? They'd answer and I'd be like, okay, great. So at the beginning, that was really hard, but now I'm so like much more confident. I know exactly what it is that we offer in our value prop. And so I love sales. I love talking to people. I love meeting new people. And even half of my sales calls are actually more talking on a personal level, getting to know that client, exactly what they need and who they are as a person. So I love doing that. And then on the creative side, so like I said, I actually have been doing YouTube since I was like 10, as I showed you and Nikki right before. I have some really embarrassing videos out there, but I love being in front of the camera. I love filming videos for people and making videos that people actually love sharing and they're proud of them. So making the videos and having like the creative say and working side by side with our editor to make something that people actually love is really exciting for me.
That's really cool. And I like what you said about the sales bit. and I wanted to mention something about that. And I don't know if you can relate to this, but in the early days, when we had customers approach us interested in doing a demo, which is kind of like a sales call, right? You're presenting and you're asking questions. We're the exact same, right? And I feel that people think, oh, I'm the only one that goes through this, but we're exactly the same thing. We would go on a call and we would ask potential customers these questions. We had no idea how to follow up to what they were answering.
Yeah.
But what we were doing quite well, and probably you did as well, was to capture that, right? So to and then have a deeper conversation with the team and with ourselves and say, okay, so they answered this. So what does that actually mean? And over time, I think that confidence comes from experience.
Yes.
Because you talk to one customer, two customers, 10 customers,
Exactly.
and you start seeing patterns. And you get a lot more confident in your ability to process that information. And, your script of questions becomes like ingrained.
Yeah.
Because you talked the same
Yes.
sales talk many times before, and it just becomes ingrained. And then you know how to answer to a new customer based on what they need, because you already have the experience of other customers that answered the same way and had the same needs. So you're like, oh, I know this already.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's very important, because I don't think anyone feels an expert in their first sales or demo calls.
Yeah.
It's very hard. Even if you go and take all of the templates and the standards and the best practices that people instruct, you still feel like a complete novice.
Yeah, and it's funny, I would actually, before my sales calls, I'd be pumping myself up, in the mirror with those affirmations, and then watching so many Alex Hormozy videos on sales. And I was trying to emulate that energy. And I did take the good pointers from what I could in all of those shorts and those videos. And I think it is super helpful, but you have to make it your own, because if it's not coming off as genuine, then it doesn't really matter. So.
Yeah, very true. And how do you, so you mentioned the stuff that you do, the jobs, the hats that you wear, and the ones that you liked. But I'm wondering, how do you split with your husband, with Andre?
Yeah, so I'm doing all of the video management side of things. So anything that has to do with what the clients are looking for and helping them in creating these videos, managing the editor. And what my husband does is everything marketing, growth, all of the behind the scenes stuff. That's what he does. So he comes from a marketing and SEO background, which is super helpful for us because he is a big dreamer and he has all of these amazing ideas, but he sometimes gets lost in them, and then he gives me okay, here's what we can do. And then I'm on the side okay, let's sit down and let's do it. Let's smash it out and get all of these tasks done. So he does everything from finding the sales agencies, finding the editors, working on building links, doing the blog. So he does all of the important behind the scenes work, whereas I'm more on the front end of keeping the clients happy.
I mean, that's very important as well. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to backtrack a bit to something that you mentioned about the video content and the presence, the quality, because I think that's one of the things that, I've had this thought and I wanted to mention it. Showing character on camera and being able to relate to your audience is very important. And I think that's why you've had so much success with Videodeck, because your videos have character, right? And they're, like you said, you can binge watch a couple of demo and tutorials of a company just because the presence on camera and how pleasant the explanation is, and the quality and the charisma of the person on camera. And that people tend to underestimate the power of that combo, which is the charisma, the individual that's in front of the camera, the quality, the high-end quality, and the consistency of the videos, because if one video is like this and one, it becomes
Right.
chaotic, right?
Yes.
So I think these three things helped us as well when we started doing Monday Coffee and other bits of content. This consistency, quality, and relatability on camera helped us gain audience and traction and get people excited about every single episode of a podcast or content that we're
Right.
putting out. And I think that's where you're excelling as well with Videodeck, at least from what
Yeah.
I've seen from the content.
Yeah, and a lot of the people who come to us, they say, okay, we've tried video and I'm just not comfortable on camera, because we have people who are coming from these SaaS companies and they are like the video marketing lead, but they tried to do 10 videos and they felt very uncomfortable on camera, and that comes across. And so they come to us saying like, we love the energy that you bring on these videos, because they said we can and we do edit our own videos, but we just don't have that energy that we're looking for. So sometimes, there are different clients and they have different like audiences. So some people are more technical, they want to be more serious. And then there are other people who want really funny, really fun skits. So I was like, even you guys, you wanted skits. And so it's fun
I remember that.
Yeah. And it's fun to be able to do a more serious video or a more fun video, because it keeps it like fresh. But it is very important. We've turned away quite a few actors just because there's no energy in these videos. And sometimes I do wonder, okay, was that too much? Like, but a lot of people come, they're like, no, we want you to be our spokesperson because you have so much energy. So
yeah. And this is one of the reasons why I thought of you quite in the early days of Misfit Founders, and because I see you all the time on my timeline with posting content. And because you have that relatability factor with a lot of people, a lot of audience. And I think in order to build a business like yours, and I think you are very aware of it, is basically building a following and a network of people that constantly see you.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to sell to a network like that versus selling to someone that is completely oblivious of who you are and what you're doing.
That's true. And it also has a downside to it a little bit, because that gives me no break, if you know what I mean. Like, if people start recognizing me in the videos and they want to use me in the videos, so that means no vacation. I mean, so much, because you just can't be gone. When people need content, it's really hard to pack up the whole studio and take it with you. And so it does come with this bit that is a little bit more difficult, because you become the face of the business. So that is hard. But we have slowly started expanding to where, I mean, the goal is not for me to wear every hat and do everything, and so we are adding new actors who are doing a wonderful job, and people are starting to choose them more. So it's nice, because I'm getting a little bit more of a break. But at those early stages, super important to be relatable and open. And on my LinkedIn, I have a little bit of a mix of professional and personal, because I think it's quite refreshing to use LinkedIn as an Instagram, just to be completely honest. All of my personal posts, besides videos that are like teaching people how to implement a good video strategy, those do really well. But if I compare just a simple marketing tip versus a personal story, the personal story is going to get 6 times more engagement. And so I'm like, okay, let's keep it light. I'm not trying to learn something new on LinkedIn every single day. Like, I want to know about who you are too. So that's my strategy.
And it goes back, it feeds into exactly what I said, which is that factor of relatability. Every single person on LinkedIn is a person with a mind and a soul and feelings. As much as we want to detach LinkedIn from being, human and being all professional and formal.
And it's so fake sometimes. It's so forced.
Yeah. We're talking about people. Everyone that's on that network, be it professionals, at the end of the day, they're people with thoughts and feelings. And so it's, of course, content that relates, which is personal stuff, is probably one of the most powerful things when it comes to relatability. Right? That's going to work. And we were doing quite a lot of that as well. Like, we were posting stuff around our team, around all, our dog, and a lot of other things, because it does work. And anyone that gets upset or flustered at oh, this content shouldn't be on LinkedIn
Yeah.
is completely bollocks. Because at the end of the day, even when you work, like, think about when you're hiring someone, you're not only hiring them for their skills, you're hiring
Absolutely.
them for their culture, for their
Exactly.
character, for the way they are as an individual. So how are you going to completely detach on a professional platform the me personal from me professional?
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, we buy both.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, for sure. And that's why I think it's so important. Like, even in my sales calls, I look at the person as who they are more than like what they do. I love spending those first 5 to 10 minutes just getting to know who they are. What are their hobbies? What do they like to do? Because I love to connect with people as well. So I'm always trying to learn about the person before I learn about the business. And that's just how I operate.
And fundamentally, you can probably, from a, psychology perspective,
Hmm.
you get to understand a bit more of what they like and what they would how you would do business with an individual by knowing a bit about them, the
Yeah,
personal stuff.
absolutely. Yeah.
And even though these textbook how to network and meet people and make friends in the professional work will recommend, you kind of understanding a bit about the individual that you're trying to connect with from a professional
Hmm.
point of view as well, and not just, oh, this person has these skills and these achievements in the business world.
Yeah. And it's funny because when I first started, I was thinking, because when I'm texting people, I'm always using like a bunch of emojis and exclamation points just because that's like my personality. I'm a very happy and bubbly person. And so when I was first stepping into this corporate world,
Hmm.
I was like, hello, how are you? Hope you're doing well. And then ending with like warm regards. And then now I'm like, hey guys, hope you're having an amazing weekend, and like asking all these. So just kind of not following those textbook rules are, I mean, for me, I just kind of threw them out. And at first I was like, okay, I have to be this structured. Like, this is what they say you have to do when you're a business person. And then when I started just embracing who I am and being like, okay, I am a founder, but I can be whoever I want to be. And
Yeah.
so just taking that into just want to have fun in my business. And so I just let that, of course, you adjust for each client, because if you have a very, very corporate client, then you need to address them in that way.
Yeah.
But it's so fun to get clients who are close in my age and we're just doing business together, and it's full of like gifts and emojis. It's a lot of fun. So
I think you also get to choose your customers, and customers get to choose their providers, right? So
that's
if
true.
you have someone that's extremely formal and corporate-ish, and you don't vibe at all,
Yeah.
and the conversation doesn't
Yeah.
flow, sometimes it might be, depending on whether that's, you can evaluate the benefit of that relationship.
Yeah.
If it's not that great of a benefit, then, just, yeah, we're not for each other.
Yeah.
And I've learned that. And even with Jigsaw, we had people that were kind of interested in the products because they heard about us, they'd seen our content, and we would go on calls and realize that what they were looking for wasn't a fit to what our products were.
Mm-hmm.
And we could have made it
You could have made
happen.
it
We could
work.
have
Yeah.
made
Mm-hmm.
it work and jam
Yep.
certain things and force certain things. But we're like, no, I think that's the wrong approach. That's the wrong thing to do.
I agree. Yeah.
And I guess you will, if you haven't already, in the future, you will, as you get more popular, you will have those type of companies that come in because an influencer in a company, like I call them the whisperers, right?
Yes.
Influenced a buyer to talk to you because they really liked your content, but that buyer is on a completely different frequency than you are and what they want. But they're on a call with you simply because someone else in their organization really liked your style. And again, that's when you need to figure out how to deal with that situation. Do you want to pursue this or do you not want to pursue it?
Yeah. And luckily, so far, all of our clients have been amazing. Like, I was telling you last night, it's kind of crazy because at first I was like, people are not going to want to say that they're working with Videodeck. Like, they're going to want people to think that this person is in-house with them. But people are going on LinkedIn and specifically writing like thank you notes or posting screenshots of our emails. And I'm so thrilled that we have had only really great experiences with all of our clients so far. And of course, there are times where our visions don't align. And I have been able to candidly talk about this with our clients to say, okay, well, that's not really what we offer. We can try to make it work. And then we do the best that we can and we come to a great compromise and we figure out the problem. And then, of course, if they're not happy, they're just not going to come back, you know? And so, but luckily that hasn't been a significant problem for us yet, which I'm so thankful for.
That's good. But it's also good to be in a situation where you can pick and choose your customers.
Yes.
Right.
And like the more you grow, of course, you can change your pricing and weed out people that you don't want to have on your, but yeah.
Well, going back to the whole personality and basically defining who you are as an influencer, as a founder, as a persona in the professional world, I think it's good to be able to understand that you should be defining that, because it's like with the company's brand, right? You spend time and energy in defining what the brand is, what the tone of voice is, what all of these things. But a lot of the times, founders or influencers in social media and out there in the wild kind of forget to apply the same tactics for their own image. And even while you were talking, I was thinking to myself, because I've started a bit polishing and doing a bit of an inner search to figure out who I am, what my language is, what my tone of voice is, and so on. And I think these conversations that I have on Misfit Founders is the absolute authentic self. And we were talking about this yesterday. For example, when I post snippets of Misfit Founders on social media, I don't shy away from it. I summarize that video snippet, that discussion in the video, using ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And I've been telling it, give me a LinkedIn summary of this transcript discussion that I had to save time, right?
Yeah.
And I realized that it sounds so not like me. So now I'm looking for ways to, I still want to save time. I don't want to sit down and because I post 3-4 times per week, these snippets. And I don't want to sit down and
it takes so much time.
It takes time. Yeah. And I have so many other things to deal with. So I'm like, I still want to use AI to summarize this, but I need to make it sound like me. And then I started thinking, what do I sound like? So then you start thinking about a bit about that personal brand and what it means to be you.
Yeah.
So, but it's good that you're aware of it and you're already thinking about that. And I'm happy that you moved away from, because when we started working, that was never the case. So when you were emailing me, it was very friendly and very I don't think I've ever received an email from you being extremely formal.
No, and the thing is, every time we would hang up, like when you and me and Nikki would get on a call, I would always hang up and run to Andre and be like, they're the nicest people ever. Like, that was so much fun. So for me, it almost felt like friends collaborating to make a passion project. It didn't feel like work, you know? Yeah. And so, yeah, it's definitely important to work with people that you vibe with and just be honest and open. And each company is going to show you their personality, and you can show different sides of yourself and express different sides. And of course, you're going to kind of match the energy that's in the room. So if it's very professional, then it's hard to be super extroverted and funny with someone who's extremely serious. Yeah. And so you can kind of be a little bit of a social chameleon, especially when you're in sales or something. Yeah. But yeah, it's really important to be yourself. And I was telling Andre even today, maybe we're very new at this. We've only been having our own business for a year and 9 months or a year and 8 months. And I'm not going to sit and say yes, I have all of the answers. I know exactly what we're doing, but I'm me and that's my superpower. And that's what makes us unique, is because we're trying all these things. Some things are working, some things are not, and we're figuring that out. But I don't want to morph and mold to be this specific business person when I'm not. So that's why I am always just trying to be myself and get better every day. And the clients that need to work with you will find you. That's my idea.
That is so true. And like you said, I think you become a bit of a chameleon when it comes to talking to your customers, but you still maintain some of your authentic truth
Oh
and
yeah.
an
Yeah.
authentic self. Because if you don't, then it's very odd because someone sees yourself
Yep.
online and then you're a completely different person.
Yeah, like straight faced
Yeah,
and
that's what I want to point out as well, because being a chameleon doesn't mean you're a completely different person
yeah.
with every single,
Yeah.
but you do adjust your tone and adjust your some of the things, but you keep your traits,
Of
that makes
course.
what makes you.
Absolutely.
um Helena, is Videodeck your first business, or did you ever had anything in the past?
So I've, like I was saying at the beginning, I've had a lot of different jobs and a lot of, but I have only ever had one full-time job,
Mhm.
and I was talking to Andre about it. I would, the second day that I was there, I went to the bathroom and I cried and I was like, I can't believe I've sold my time. Like, why am I felt like I was in jail. And so I stayed there for 9 months. I got my requisites, and then as soon as I found a couple of freelancing jobs, I started working from home. I was like, this is not for me. And so I knew that I wanted to have my own businesses. So I've tried a couple of different things. I had an in-home hair salon, which was going really well, but I found it really hard to scale it, especially as a one-person show. And not to say that a two-person show is less work, but you can definitely scale in tech a lot better than you can in like the physical world. I feel like, at least that was my experience so far. And so I've had a hair salon business. I've done freelance copywriting, and that's about the extent of my businesses.
Do you identify primarily as a creative or a founder, or are you kind of
Ooh.
like both? Do you
I
can see yourself as both?
I
Identify
can
what
see myself as both,
identity.
but I do love being on the creative side. I love creating videos, editing them myself, because we do have an amazing editor on our team and he does such a good job. Like, any idea that I have, he will always bring it to life. And so that's really cool. But when I am filming TikToks for companies, for example, I have such a clear vision of what I want it to look like. So I will spend those 2 to 3 hours editing them myself, and like bulk editing because I'm doing lots of TikToks. But Andre will ask me, hey, why don't you just send that to the editor? I'm like, no, this is my project. Like, I want to make
I know
this.
that feeling
Yeah, even though we
100%.
have someone who can completely do an amazing job, I'm like, no, this is my baby. So yeah,
Hands up.
yeah, exactly. So I am definitely on the creative side, but I also love having ideas and bringing them to life and just chasing after those as well. So probably a good mix.
Okay, that makes sense. And what is the one thing that you feel is your weakness in business in general?
Mhm.
What is the at least one?
Yeah, I think it's being time poor.
Time
So
poor.
being time poor, yeah, absolutely. So I love being a stay-at-home mom. So I have a daughter who's 1 and 9 months old, and she is my everything. And I love to be fully involved in motherhood. And I
Mhm.
also have this side of me that loves business. And so every moment that I have alone, whether it's nap time or her going to play with one of her grandparents for an hour or two, I'm sitting down and I'm smashing out work. And sometimes that does translate into me being a day or two late with emails, but I try my best to stay on top of it. And when the moment she goes to sleep, Andre and I are congregating in the living room and we're like smashing out emails, working on storyboards. And so if we had more time, I'm sure we could pump out a lot of our own content, because that's been one thing we want to focus on, our own marketing and growing our own business. But we really only have the time to help our clients and make something that they like. And so being time poor has definitely been one of my greatest weaknesses.
And how does that work? Because I'm sure there will be a lot of women leaders,
Mhm.
founders, aspiring entrepreneurs that are also mothers that
Mhm.
have kids.
Yeah.
And I'm curious how you balance that. You mentioned, oh, you have her with the grandparents or something like that,
Mhm.
and you just go at it with some work and such. But have you set up any kind of structure and boundaries, like, oh, this is the schedule on a weekly basis, this is when I'm available, do you have anything like that, and agreed with your husband as well? How does it work, or is it whatever, whenever?
It's a bit of both. So we know exactly like her napping schedule. So anybody who has like kids are understanding that you love that schedule. If they have 2 naps, you're like, okay, from 10 to 12 I'm free, and from 3 to 5 I'm free. And so we've set up my Calendly to coincide with those nap times and bedtimes. Yeah,
Very
so
nice.
I'm always taking calls during nap time, and she has joined a handful of meetings with me. Like, and at all of my shoot days, she's always in the background. She's like very heavily involved with us. Whenever I have calls that are not during her bedtime, then Andre we just tag team all the time. So he started working a lot from home now. And so we are tag teaming all the time. Like, okay, you watch her for 30 minutes while I write these emails. Okay, now you watch her while I do this. And so we're definitely involving her in a lot of different things. And then we do have a bit of a schedule, but we don't do daycare or anything like that. And when there's a will, there's a way. So I know when I found out I was pregnant, I was so nervous. I was like, oh, is this, you hear these negative things on social media all the time about becoming a parent. And so I had this perception that I was not going to be able to be in the business world anymore.
Yeah.
And what's absolutely astonishing to me is that this has been the most growth I've ever seen in our business in this last 2 years. And from a personal development space, from a business development, like, it's been possible and we've been able to make it work. And that's not to say that I haven't had extremely difficult days where I'm like, I didn't spend enough time with Ivy, or you have this like self-inflicted pressure to be the perfect mom. And so you're like, okay, well, I took so many calls today and I didn't get to do Play-Doh time, And so you make these things, but we've been able to make it work. And I think it's been really great.
But this is why I wanted to talk about this, because we do often have these skewed perceptions of what it means to be this and this, because of what we see on social media and what we hear from others. And it does sound like it's been tough at times, and it's going to continue to be as the business grow and you need to juggle the two. But is it impossible? It does seem like you found your own path, and I think that's more often than not the case. I'm really happy that you didn't get disheartened and just decided, you know what, she's the only focus, because I don't think I'm going to be able to make this happen. Because I do think that, like you said, where there's a will, there's a way. And it's also great that you are able to thrive in a very nimble and always changing environment, right? Because she's growing as well. There's new habits, there's new things, and you need to constantly adjust. And that to me, that's a skill, to be able to do that. How much do you sleep? Or what's your schedule? Yeah, like how much do you rest? Because I suppose, do you have, like, for example, after she goes to bed, do you have some hours where you plow through some work?
Oh, absolutely. Like last night after we left dinner with you guys, we worked for an hour and a half. Got home, did the bedtime routine, put her to sleep, and then we pulled out our laptops. We were behind. We were traveling yesterday. We had people that needed to be responded to. How much do I sleep? Well, for the first 10 months, I think I slept an average of like 4 hours a night. But yeah, that's just because all of those night wakings and everything. But yeah, probably like 6 hours a night.
6 hours.
It's pretty solid. I think it's pretty good.
I think it's okay, yeah.
Yeah. But I'll work. I'm not like fully tied to my computer, which is great. My husband says that I have the output of 8 hours and 2 hours. So he said I'm crazy when I get on the computer.
That's really good.
So there are no breaks. It's like full, because during the morning when I'm with her, I'm already like, okay, I know what I'm going to say to those people. I know what's wrong with this video. When I'm reviewing videos, I'm putting them in 2 times speed. So I'm very good with my time when I get those free time. So in those 4 hours a day that I'm working, they're equivalent to 8 pretty much.
Man, when I hear you say that, I'm so bloody jealous, because I'm the complete opposite. I get distracted so quickly. And I just can't sit in front of the computer for more than 15 minutes without getting distracted by this email or by that or by that. And I can't do. I've tried Pomodoro clocks and stuff, and
Oh
it just
yeah.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
I think I might have undiagnosed ADHD or something like that.
I've
So
heard you say.
yeah, like honestly, the fact that you can spend 2 hours and just
Oh.
and I don't know what happened because I used to do that when Nikki and I started Jigsaw in the early days when we had full-time jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're talking about this is different. Having a child is completely
Oh,
different.
it's a full-time job too.
Yes, but it is in a sense you have to juggle. You have to make yourself very tight schedule on. Oh, we're waking up at this time because we know she wakes up
Yeah.
at this, so we need to have a
Yeah.
couple of times this, and then in the evening a bit. And we were quite the same because we had the 8 hours a day working,
Jobs,
so
yeah.
we had to wake up early, go to the gym, and then spend an hour or two here, and
That's
then in the
exactly how
evening.
we are too.
Yeah, so and I was good at it, but I don't know
Mhm.
what happened along the way that
It's the pressure. It's that pressure that you have to get it done. Like there is no option.
Mm.
And so you make it work because when you have people, when you do get behind on 2 days of emails and be like, did you receive my last email? At that point, it becomes embarrassing. So
Yeah.
you're like, I have to do this. So on the days that I'm extremely tired, I do respect like what my body's asking for. So if I am extremely tired and I cannot, sometimes a good TikTok scroll is all you need for that boost of energy.
Exactly.
And then tomorrow I'm going to double time it, So it's definitely that balance of work and play because you have to, or else you get burned out. Because there were times where, especially when they're so young and they're very unpredictable with their schedules and sleep regressions and all of this stuff, like there were days where I just cry because I'm like, oh gosh, this is so hard. Like, what am I doing? And then the next day you're like, I'm on top of the world. Like I'm a rock star. I can do this. So yeah, it's just day to day. And if you do feel that pressure, then you get things done a lot quicker.
And what was the hardest moment for you with Videodeck?
I guess there are a couple, but like on a personal level, my daughter has gotten sick quite a few times and we've been hospitalized for days at a time. And just getting really behind in work, especially when at that point, it was just the two of us. It was just me and Andre. And then just taking care of a sick baby and then hearing my phone ring and ring and ring, like clients asking, where are you at? What are you doing? Like we need these videos, these strict deadlines. And I remember specifically like after she got an IV drip, I had to go to the studio and film a video because they were launching and they needed it. And so just these just having a personal life, but also having a business that fully depends on you. Those are some pretty difficult moments, I think.
So in those periods, did you skip some deadlines? Did you delay stuff?
Like I said, we had the nicest clients. So every time
that would have been my next question. How was the conversation? Did people understood?
Andre and I, we toyed with the idea. Should we be completely honest? Should we tell them what's going on? Like, why are we not replying? Or should we keep it professional and just say, like, we're so sorry we've been out of office. And when we're honest with people about our mistakes, or if we're honest with them about our deadlines, every single time they have been so understanding and so kind, which has been amazing. So having these nice clients has been great. I've always just been honest with them. So we have come really close to deadlines. I don't think we've ever missed one. We've never put people behind. Actually, we work late into the night if it's necessary. So just the other day, we had a client who needed the video exported 4 more times so that they could put different durations, different subtitles. And they let us know on Monday they're launching Friday. So we put everything else on pause to get this done for them. So we're always trying to do the best that we can for our clients.
That is impressive, and I think that's one of the reasons why you're able to maintain the relationships that you're maintaining with customers, because they probably see not just the fact that you are an extremely nice person, but in a sense you're also you are able to deliver and do things for them without putting the heart and soul in the stuff that you do.
I actually have one story. So we have a client, he's quite new to working with us, and we actually were late. This was the first time that we were actually about a week late. And at that point, you're just embarrassed to write them to let them know that you're late. And so what happened was we filmed and we got the microphone in focus instead of the spokesperson. We edited the whole video. We didn't notice until all of the hard work had been done. And so we organized a reshoot, and we wanted it to be perfect before we sent it to them. And so we reshoot the video, but it's a week late, and I didn't want to write and be like, hey, we made a mistake, you know? And so the client asked, he goes, hey, it's been like a week. Is there any chance that the video is done? And at first I was just going to say, yeah, it'll be done in the next few days. But then I was like, I need to own up to my mistakes. And so I said, we shot the video out of focus and we're so sorry. We're organizing a reshoot. All the costs will be on us. And we just want to have a good reflection, you know? And he took that screenshot. And at first, Andre and I are like, do we send it? Do we not? We literally had a meeting about it. We were like, do we send it? Are we honest? Do we want to make mistakes and be honest about it? He took a screenshot of that message and posted it on LinkedIn, got like 80 likes or something crazy like that. And he put the tagline that I wrote. I said, we wanted it to be perfect. And then he said a massive thank you to Videodeck. So we're late. We make the mistakes, but we get praised for it afterwards. So that's why I'm saying we've been working with some amazing people.
Yeah, and I think that's important, because I can also see how that can backfire if you're dealing with people that basically have a bit more of I would say, I'm not putting up, I'm grumpy because my work is grumpy and I have pressures at work and so on. But I think you've been blessed with good customers.
Yeah.
But I think it's also because you choose your own customers,
Yeah.
right? And you kind of understand what type of pressures you'd put yourself through if you don't work with the right customers. And I don't think pressure is the right word, because it does seem like you put a lot of pressure on yourselves. It's probably more the stress and the bad karma that you want to avoid, because you do. Like I do as well. Like I've honestly, I've never tolerated customers being extremely rude.
Mm-hmm.
I never did.
Yeah.
When that happened with our support team and stuff, I intervened. And I've started talking to the customer. And as soon as they saw that, you know, the CEO of this company got involved and kind of, in a sense, got protected the team and got the situation diffused, and tried to and kind of like flip it to, you know, hey, everyone's here's looking out for your interests, and this is not a fair type of engagement.
Yeah.
Back down and appreciated that kind of engagement and so on. So especially with us, because with us we can't really control which customers we should like, because it's a kind of like automated SaaS business and so on. You get a variety of characters that you interact with in support.
Yeah. And Andre's actually quite surprised, because as kind as I can be, I also know how to deal with people who are a bit abrasive. And so when people are unaccepting or a bit just really blunt and upfront, I will counter, not with the same energy, but with the powerful energy, and just say, like, I totally understand where you're coming from, but this is not okay. And so just being able to, I think honesty is the most important thing, like to not back down. And especially in the American culture, the customer is always right. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but I think it's good to just be kind to each other. And so just kind of speaking back to these people, not being rude, but just addressing the situation, saying like, okay, this is not what we offer. This is not what we can do, or just.
It's different when it comes to, you know, you as being the founder and engaging with the customer. I think fundamentally, you know, I hear this whole, you know, American culture of customer is always right. I think it's a bit of a too extreme type of a statement.
It can be, for sure.
I don't think we should take that to an extreme like some companies do. Yeah, we should respect our customers. We should tend to their needs, but we should also be super honest and upfront. And if a service doesn't fit, you know, don't force it. Don't try to make it fit.
Don't kill yourself over it.
Yeah, just you can let go customer. And fundamentally, I think being truthful to your customer is better than trying to please.
Yeah.
right? 100%. So if your service is not made for them, no, you should go
Yeah.
and use this. Like, you shouldn't be using this because there's going to be friction down the line,
Yeah.
and that you're not going to love the product. So
Mhm.
for your own sake, utilize something else that's more fit to your need.
Mhm.
That's one. And then second, this whole idea that we have to be servants of customers.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
good customer service is important, and all of these things. But I do think that at the end of the day, we're in a business transactional relationship, and both parties need to be respectful of the other's
Totally
business,
agree.
right? When we get into situations where you bad mouth a service that you're using, or you're being too aggressive in
Yeah,
support tickets, I don't think that that's fair, and I'm going to intervene whenever that
exactly.
happens, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Two questions for you.
Okay.
The first one was, where do you see yourself as a professional growing? Have you ever thought about that? Because I know there's plenty of us that take every day
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
one after the other,
Yep.
and
Yep.
there's
Yep.
some people that have really high aspirations. I'm
Yeah.
wondering where you sit there.
I think I have visions of where I would like to be in 5 years, obviously. But for now,
Sorry to interrupt. Yourself, not Videodeck. I'll ask about Videodeck as well, but
for
yourself. Yeah,
myself,
as a
yeah,
professional and as a founder and
yeah,
individual.
I obviously just right now want to grow Videodeck and continue to see where it's going, because I feel like we finally found the business and the niche that we're actually passionate about, and we like it, and we like doing this every day. So I enjoy being in the role that I am right now. And in the future, I'd love to expand the team and kind of step away even a bit more and just be able to direct from afar. And I also want to focus on my family a lot too in the future as
Yeah.
well. So for sure, taking it day by day and just figuring out exactly what we want to do. My desires and my passions, they change on like a monthly basis. So we get all these new ideas. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll still be in, for sure, we'll still be in the tech world, but hopefully we'll be investing in other types of businesses as well, like physical businesses and real estate and stuff. So yeah, I think the early 30s in the next 5 years are going to look bright.
Awesome. Well, it does seem like you're quite entrepreneurial, and you want to continue to pursue that at specific levels and not be that hands-on
Exactly.
in the future. Are you a people's person?
Oh, absolutely.
Let me ask you, 'cause I know you're a people person from
people
a customers and so on. Do you like working with people and managing people?
So far, yes. I actually have had so much fun expanding our team, because up until now, in the last 2 or 3 months, we've been working with contractors. So the studio that we were working with for the last year and a half, about a year and a half, we were just working on a project by project basis. But now making our own company culture has been so exciting. Like preparing gift boxes with nice like sweatshirts and stickers and wine bottles, like that has been so exciting for me. And speaking with our editor every day has been so much fun. Like I said, we're a very like fun team.
Yeah.
And so we love making jokes and talking to each other. It's never like this super professional, scary conversation. It almost feels like friends just having a good time every day. And so making your own company culture where you get to take all of the good things you've learned from other jobs or other companies and implementing it and being like, wow, this is ours. I've loved managing like the team.
And where do you get your inspiration for that, for building the culture? What are some of is it previous companies that you work with? Andre coming with his experience of working with companies. Where do you get the inspiration of how you want your and the vision of how you want your team culture to be as you build your team now?
I think some of it comes from things I didn't like from working with previous companies or for previous companies. If I felt like I wasn't heard or I wasn't listened to, I always want to make sure that I'm giving a very listening ear. Even if I don't completely agree or don't understand, I want my team to feel seen and understood. And then when Andre would receive like these care packets or whatever for Christmas, or I just thought it was so nice. It's like, oh, you're not just an employee here. You're not just a contractor here. Like you're actually valuable to these people, because we've seen so many toxic work cultures where, I mean, especially just a few decades ago, it's just, or not even a few, in the last decade, people are just disposable. You know, when they retire, it's like, okay, we do like this 5-minute goodbye party and that's it. Like they only care about how much money you can produce for the company. Whereas, of course, that's super important. But for me, it's more about the people and getting people to do things that they actually like and to provide like the lifestyle that people want to have, like remote teams work. Like our editor, he's going to be moving to Spain now and he'll be editing from the beach. And I'm like, good for you. You should be doing that.
Very
and so,
nice.
yeah, that's, I love that about having a team.
But you know what, you were talking about leaving a company and so on, and I've seen all of these horror stories on TikTok recently of people being let go. And I do feel like this has been accelerating in the last few years, actually. Like just basically tying, cutting ties with an employee in the most ruthless, heartless way possible, which is like, oh, I was just brought on a call. I was told that my job, that's it.
Yeah.
And I was seeing how Slack, this were disconnected while we were having a call.
Oh,
and that is
disrespectful.
But it's happening more and more in the tech and this world that we're in, digital workers. And I don't know if it's because people are remote and companies are concerned about, you know, people having access to things after they've been announced that they're getting let go, that they're being let go. I don't know what, but it has been accelerated of just people being let go on a scheduled call with manager, or what could this be? On a call, HR is there. Sorry to let you know that unfortunately we'll have to let you go. Your role is not whatever. And then you get disconnected from everything. You don't even get to say bye to the people that you worked with. And it happens so often nowadays. And that to me feels extremely wrong. I don't care how the reasons behind it. You can ring fence your organization in such a way that people don't do damage to you when they find out that they're letting go. But in the same time, if you're so concerned that someone might do something wrong because in that trial, in that period of exit, then you build the wrong culture.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Andre and I were talking about this recently because we were, even just a week ago, we were on the couch because that's our meeting room. And we were discussing, where do we want to take Videodeck in the next 5 years? Do we want it to stay this like really nice, comfortable family business? Or do we want to make it like 100 employees, like media production agency where we take on all things? And we love the tightness of our team. Getting like every time our editor's in town, we're always going to lunch together. We're always like seeing each other and not even discussing work, just getting to know each other. And we were thinking even a 12-person team would be so hard to connect with each person individually. And so it really just depends on what kind of person you are. Because if you enjoy those personal relationships and you want to have a really great, tight fit knit team, then you have to stay small. But then it does become easier to just let people go when it's 100 people because you don't even really know that person.
And the thing is, when you reach that point, if the decision was, and we were the same, we decided we will sell before scaling up because we knew the pains of scaling up. And we would rather be part of a bigger team already than actually us being part of the scale up and experiencing that as the founders, because I don't think it's in our nature and our character. But there's plenty of scale ups and companies that have hundreds of employees where the founders are the sweetest and best people ever. But it is impossible for you to have a very similar, like for your company to have the same character as you when you reach that thousand
number.
people,
Yeah,
hundreds and
absolutely.
thousands of people company, because you have people in charge of taking
Yeah.
decisions and so on, which will not be a clone of you.
Yeah,
So
totally.
when that happens, and you yourself start getting advised by people that been building thousands of people companies and took companies public and this, that, and you get advice on how to structure your company to be successful, to and get to where you need to get as an organization.
Right.
But along the way, some of those decisions on how you structure and how you deal with people will be in the detriment of your culture.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
is absolutely impossible to have the same culture and the same vibe at a 10 people company to 100 or 500. It is
Yeah.
impossible. Things will
Totally.
change. Even as much as you want to hold grip of your culture and your vibe, it's going to change.
So then it's better to make 10 small companies and manage those
That's
individually.
my approach, to be
Yeah,
honest.
that's what we like too, honestly.
And that's why like companies like Netflix and others had a more modern approach where, you know, you have tribes and you have these very self-contained groups of and teams that don't really take decisions that much based on a vertical, but they're more self-contained. So there are big companies that do that, that use this tribe approach where they're independent. It's still not like being a 100% individual company, because you have decision makers that interlock with other teams, right? Because you're a unit, like you're building this Netflix platform or something like that. You do need to interact, and decisions are taken a level higher, but at least you have a lot more autonomy in that sense.
Yeah. I think you just have to be extremely careful with who you hire to make sure that they match the company culture. And of course, on a large scale, that's going to be extremely difficult. But when we were hiring because he's our very first hire, because like I said, we were just working on individual projects. And when we saw like a constant flow of influx of new clients, then we said, okay, I think we can make this more efficient in-house.
Yeah.
We had interviewed maybe 5-6 people, and just the moment that they jump on a call, you just know. You're like, oof, that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Even if they have the skill set and they can do it, they have quick turnaround, they have great skills.
It's not all about that.
If the personality does not fit, and there was one case where I was listening to Andre's conversation, like my jaw dropped to the floor. Like the things this man was saying, I was like, wow, like that's not gonna work in our company. So, and you have to protect your image too, because if you have people who are saying horrible things online, I mean, it's a reflection of the company. So you have to be extremely wary with who you bring on.
Yeah, 100% very true. And it is pretty much impossible for you to keep the same culture that you and Andre have as the founders. You can bring people that are as close as possible and relate and share the same values, but everyone will bring a little bit of their own culture in the company.
Course.
Because they come with their own experience. They've done things in other companies. They've liked stuff.
Yeah.
And they will often have experiences that you don't have, and you'd have experiences that they don't have.
Yeah.
So your detailed picture of how your culture and your values look like will expand and change over time. As long as those core principles stay, right? It doesn't matter anything else. Someone comes and says, "Oh, it's cool if we do this habit and so on," because it worked really well, right? And as long as that, you know, and that's why I sometimes I see people that hold too tight to their very original image of what the company should look like from a culture, and that becomes a toxic place, because there's like, no, we're not doing that because that doesn't align with my antique image of what the company is.
For sure. And it's kind of funny because my parents, when I talk to them about how like online work can be and how flexible, and You know, they kind of grew up in the culture, like you show up at work at 8 in the morning and you stay till 5 in the evening and you're putting in your hours and there are no breaks. And then they're hearing how we're having like company retreats and playing games, and it's encouraged to go have a 30-minute coffee break. And it does not matter how many hours you're putting in. Like in all of the companies I've worked for, nobody has cared how many hours I'm putting in. As long as the outcome is what I promised, it does not matter how you get there. And so it's really funny. My mom will say, "Oh my gosh, Gen Z," you know, but like we do it in our own way. And so things are different. And so we both have to say, yeah, we're different. And that's,
and it evolves so fast, because like even when I got into the workforce, you have to be in the office and do your 8 hours.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And you could kind of like do stuff. Oh, I'm going to work a bit more like this, and then be a bit flexible with that. But you had your eight hours in the office, and that has changed massively.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't really matter. And I think that's the right culture that we've been promoting in organizations and industries, which is what matters is the output,
Exactly.
not the butts in the seat, right? So
Yeah.
it's the output, what we achieve as a team and as an organization, and if that's achieved, do you really matter if a person's worked 2 hours this other day, or the fact that they worked 3 hours less this week?
Yeah.
Maybe in those less hours they achieved more than some people that spend 9 to 5 exactly. Butts in seats, right? Like some organizations say, and they're just there to make the quota of hours, and that's it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's cool because in our team, Andrea and I from the beginning, like, of course you discuss like, okay, we're going to work like 8 hours a day or whatever. But with our editor, we have a Trello board and we put the due dates on it. And sometimes we'll talk to each other at 5. The first message that we do is 5 p.m. And it's like, okay, if you want to work at 5 p.m., go for it. Like, if you want to sleep in and do your thing, that's fine. If you want to wake up at 5 a.m. and work, that's cool too. And so we kind of all understand each other in the sense, like, I'll be messaging people and I feel so bad. But sometimes I'm working at 11 p.m. because I just had no time that day. And so I'll put it all in one message. I will not do multiple messages one after another. And I'll be like, I know you guys know that I'm a mom and I cannot work normal hours, so please do not reply until tomorrow. But here are all the things we need to get done tomorrow. These are the edits we need to make. And then I send it one time, and I hope to God they don't see it until the next morning, you know? So those hours don't matter. As long as the output is there, I don't care how you get it done. Yeah,
true. And you see, that's even further of a difference between what you do and what we are doing, because not only that, for us it didn't really matter whether you were 9 to 5 at work or whatnot, but truth be told, we didn't really have big pressures to deliver at specific due dates.
It's totally different, yeah.
Because you have customers that require this by that date, but for us it wasn't. Like, we were building products and we were evolving that product. Yeah. And I do think that, there might be in some organizations that do SaaS B2B, and this might be either customer pressure, or it might be a bunch of functions that invest money in marketing and sales and this and that. So certain features need to be there for certain campaigns and so on. But fundamentally, a lot of SaaS businesses that put extreme pressures on their teams to deliver by X day or Y day is complete bollocks. Like, it's complete, because they don't have, a lot of these companies like us, we didn't have a hard dependencies on anything. We were delivering features because customers had a need, but no customer of ours that was paying subscription came in and said, if you don't have this feature by that date,
February 7th,
I'm leaving you. That never happened.
It's actually just self-inflicted pressure.
Exactly.
You put these launch dates and you try to make them, but that's about it.
But we never put public launch date. We never communicated to customers, you're going to get this feature by this date, because we didn't want it to put the extreme pressure on our team to deliver by that date. Because we knew as soon as we set expectations with customers that this is exactly what you're going to get,
The complaints
culture
roll in.
and culture will get completely toxic because we need
Yeah, that's true.
to
Yeah.
whip people into delivering and put pressure on delivering by that date and so on.
Yeah.
And so for us it was a lot of, yeah, we should have this done by that date, but if it's not done, like, it's not the
Yeah.
end of the day. So I do wonder, how do you balance that
Yeah.
without, like, how do you get the output done in time without putting a lot of pressure
On the team. Yeah. So I think because we have really perfected our craft, and a lot of so most of the videos that we're making are product tours and explainer videos, and turning blog posts into videos. And so we have nailed down processes. Now, before, at the very, very beginning, even before we had Videodeck launched, I mean, it was a mess. We were like, okay, we need to film now. Did you edit the video? Did you get this done? And then with every new client, with every new video, we have perfected a process. And so we know, okay, from the day we receive the script, we need 10 business days. So the first step is filming. We film as soon as we get the script. So that way we have 10 days to edit it. And then we have kind of like this perfect sauce of how we edit the videos. We have a flow. And once our editor got familiar with that flow, he's making these videos in like a day or 2 days. And so this gives us a lot of cushion time to be able to, and we always tell our clients like, oh, we need 10 days. But
so you have a buffer.
Oh, yeah. And then it actually in turn ends up impressing them because they're like, oh, you got it done in 5 days or 6 days.
But does that ever backfire to you, that people are like, well,
You can do more.
You've done the last 5 videos in 5 days instead of 10. So can you do me 2 videos in that time?
But actually, isn't that better for us because it's more sales? So
yes, it is true. But did you ever had that? Did you ever had someone saying, I'm really impressed with how fast you can do stuff, because you know, initially we were supposed to deliver in 10, but you delivered in 5. Can you deliver me twice in that time? Did you ever had anyone?
Not yet. So, but I think the more clients that we get, the more we want to expand our team. And so we never want to have that pressure. Like Andre and I have been experiencing that pressure because there will be days, and you might have experienced this too, where you just fully feel like you can do nothing. The to-do list is so big, especially when it's just the two of you running everything.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, some days you can do nothing. And you kind of just stare at the computer until 5 p.m. till you can feel consciously like, all right, it's 5 p.m. I can clock out. But that day you were not able to do anything. And so what we want to do is relieve ourselves of some of that pressure. And so in the future, we definitely want to keep expanding and making the team bigger. It's going to be great.
It is like that, but you also have to realize that at one point the output is going to start dropping. The bigger the company is, the less of output you can get out of an individual, because
there's more cushion.
It's collaboration, communication with others. So they're not their individual self anymore doing a full contained job. They have to work a lot more with other individuals in the team and collaborate.
Waiting on each other.
Yeah, when you start, and people say, oh, it's because of management. So as long as I don't have management involved, so I don't have management layers. So like you say, oh, okay, so I don't want to manage a team of 10 anymore. So I'm going to get 2 managers, one to manage the creative, one to manage the writers and so on. And then, well, it's a longer chain, so things take more time in terms of decision making and so on. That's true. But people tend to forget that, and tend to make this mistake where they think that only management layers is what makes output be laggier or lower. But it's actually also the size of the team and how much cross communication and collaboration exists within the individuals. Because the more you break down the responsibilities and the skills and say, I have one colorist and I have one editor and I have one social media person that creates social media videos. And as soon as you start going very deep into very specialized roles, then that individual needs to work with more people, and that individual needs to work with
Right.
more people. And the time that they spend collaborating, communicating,
That's
and
true,
arranging
yeah.
stuff will take time. So their output will be way less than, in the early days when you have 3, 4, 5 people and everyone
Right.
does like it's self-contained.
And again, it's kind of like that pressure, because when it's just the 3 of you, you've
Yeah.
got the pressure. We have to get this done in 10 days. But then when there are 5 people, you're like, oh, well, I was waiting on her and she was waiting on me. And yeah.
Even if you have the right culture and everyone's like still has that pressure and that fire, that passion to do and deliver, it's still, physically you have more people involved and more communications that are happening and more collaboration between individuals and more localized work that's happening. So it's going to decrease the output. Yeah. So just to expect that when happens and not, because I've been initially when I started Jigsaw, we wanted to keep the company as flat as possible with no management except for Nikki and I, because we're like, well, we've seen in other companies, management is what slows down progress.
Yeah.
But then we realized, because we added more people, more specialized, realized, well, actually, what slows down is also just having people more tailored on their roles and having to work with other people's around. Even if there's no management involved and so on, they still have to collaborate and kind of synchronize with others' work and wait for that person to finish that bit before starting this bit. And that adds to it. So, I was surprised, but then I acknowledge it and accepted it. It's part of a team growing.
Yeah. I think just being flexible as you grow and figuring out new routines and new processes. I think if you can be, just like we were talking about company culture and not being so strict on having something you imagined, just being able to go with the flow and accept it and make the best out of it is really important. And Andre and I are both super easygoing people. So I think it's quite easy for us to adapt. We've been able to adapt with anything that anyone has ever thrown at us. We've overcome a lot of stuff. And so we're ready for it when it comes.
No, the one thing that I would add to that, just to be mindful, is it can backfire. If you're extremely nice and you're trying to make this culture where everyone's super nice, as you start hiring and growing, you'll start having individuals that are not 100% on the same path and vibe, in a sense, with the rest of the team and yourself. And there will be times where you need to be a bit more cutthroat and a bit more on point with individuals in the team. And if the culture is, at least what I've learned, is if the culture is too friendly and too playful, in a sense, if you start having individuals that start, in a way, take advantage of that, it's going to be hard for you to shift gears and have those tougher conversations with someone that's a bit on a different path. And I know I'm talking a bit cryptic and stuff, but for example,
it's true though,
did had in Jigsaw, needed to have those conversations with individuals that, we were fun and all of these things, and some individuals we had that stopped caring that much about what we were doing and stopped being a team player in a sense as well. And we had to have those tough conversations. And I think where we were a bit lucky was that I've been the motivator and the inspirational person in the team, but also the bad cop at times. And Nikki's always been the friendly, I'm the friendly co-founder, and that gets everyone in a good mood and determined in a certain way. I was the person that was having those tough conversations. And it helped us balancing ourselves like that. It doesn't mean that I've always been the grump leader and founder, grumpy cat all the time. No, I'm also silly at times and so on. But I think I knew how to to navigate this pace in such a way that when people know that I'm serious, or that
Yes.
that we need to have a serious conversation, they knew that, kind of like plays
Yeah.
paused,
Yeah.
because we need to have a serious conversation about a specific topic.
For
So
sure.
I think that's one thing that you need to thread and figure out how to handle if that ever comes.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't happen, but it's almost impossible
It's
when you grow a
inevitable.
company.
For sure. And I've seen it in my parents' business as well, watching them having to let people go that they really care about. And I know that that's extremely difficult. And we have also worked with contractors in the past that we just ended up being on complete separate pages. And we did have to cut ties for the time being. And Andre did take care of those difficult conversations. And we would discuss what we were going to say and how we wanted to address it, because you never want to burn a bridge. And so it's really important to keep things extremely professional and extremely so he's really good at that. And so what I really enjoy about having a like family run business where it's like the husband is wife dynamic is that we really do complete each other on these levels. So I have a fiery personality, so when I do get upset, I almost want to instantly like write like these emails or these messages, and then Andre's like, let's take a breather and like let's really think about what we're going to do before. And so we have had to have those conversations, but like within our direct team, luckily we're like super happy with where we are right now. But
that's good. Well, again, there will be, and the idea is, and I always tell to Nikki this, and when I talk to the team as well, and this is my thinking as well, if someone's not in it anymore, keeping them around is the biggest disservice that you can do to them. Exactly. Like, it's the team. It's not, things are not working properly. But I've had a couple of occasions where I could have said, "That's fine. They're there. They're
doing their job,
doing a job, and so on. Maybe not at full potential. They're not that into the rest of the team. Doesn't seem to be a team player, and so on."
Yeah.
But then I thought, but no, because like they have potential. It seems like Jigsaw is not anymore the place for them for a variety of reasons. So they should probably pursue something that they can get passionate about.
Absolutely.
And that's completely normal. And I think that's one of the biggest thing is like, you're doing a disservice for keeping someone around that's not into it anymore.
Yeah, and we've had that experience personally before starting Videodeck for our own and working for ourselves. When you're not doing something that you absolutely love, it's almost dreadful. Like to wake up and go to work and do your 6-8 hours, and then you're like, ugh. But then you get home, you do your side projects. You're like, yes, this is what I want to do. And so I know for us, when we were able to make that step to cut all ties with all those other jobs that we were having and freelance and just work on Videodeck, that was such an exciting and liberating day. It was like, wow, we're just doing this for ourselves now. It would be awesome to provide that for other people. And as founders, you asked me what one of our weaknesses is. One of Andre's biggest weaknesses, he wants everyone to have their own business. So as soon as we bring someone on the team, he's like, so what business do you want to start? Like, I'm like, you're pushing away our team members already, but he wants everybody to have incredible success.
Yeah.
And so he's always like, how can we get you on this track of making your own business as well? But when we see that people are really enjoying like what they're doing, I'm so happy for them as well. So yeah, keeping people in a place where they don't thrive is definitely a disservice to them.
I completely agree. And coming from where I had a job where the founders, when I was in London before starting Jigsaw, where the founders of that company were super supportive of me eventually starting something, I think that's the right attitude to have. Because if people are very inclined to start their own thing, anyways, they're gonna leave. So support them, give them the tools. It's gonna pay back to you and your organization in the long run. Like, don't try to just like, oh, this person is really good, I need to keep them in my seat and not make sure that they don't go away. No, just if they're inclined, anyways, they're gonna leave.
That's true.
And if you have that kind of culture where it's like, I don't really care, like as in I care best for your interest, and I want you to be good. So if that means you open something, however I can help, what that's gonna happen, that's what's that gonna cause is to have a very positive, laid back culture where people don't feel like they're looked upon or wrongly analyzed because they all of a sudden on the computer they have some personal email or some personal project there at work, and you're like, oh, what are you doing that? You're not supposed to. No, like if you can embrace that, people, especially in the world that we live today, where basically being your own person and contracting and doing things through social media and influencer marketing and so on is such a big thing.
It really is.
Right? It's very, you're very aged, almost dinosaur, if you want to forbid your
keep them
team
for yourselves
from doing anything else except from your work. No, that's not okay anymore.
And we were part of that in the sense that for a long time it was just me as the face of Videodeck, because Andre was working all of these jobs, and we thought, it's probably best that I just do this by myself publicly. And then as soon as Andre was done working for all these other companies full time, we were like, okay, let's publicly announce, because you have done so much. Like, this was not possible without you. And so let's get you on Videodeck as the co-founder, So that was such an exciting day. And like, we always want to support people in doing what their full-time dreams are. So we never expect someone to stay with us forever, because it's like that saying, like, nobody's going to work as hard for you as you are. Yeah. And so when we see passions in other people, we're always in their corner. We're like, you should go for that. You should. And in the meantime, if you have to do 5 terrible jobs in the meantime, then that's what you do until you get to do your own thing. And that's why I think a lot of people, a lot of founders go through that grind of like, oh, I don't like this job, but I'm going to do it until I can get to do my own thing. And so we're always trying to back other people. Like, you should do what ultimately is your goal.
Yeah, very true. And I think that's the good bit is that this is becoming more mainstream than ever. We were talking about our parents and previous generations of work ethics and work culture, and that's changing quite a bit, and it's really good to see.
Yeah.
Helena, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. It was really cool, really interesting. We got to talk about a lot of things. I love your story. I love the fact that I was able to help you kickstart this. I also love the idea of you having 2 babies in the same time.
Oh yeah.
And also thank you for sharing some of the struggles and some of the how you cope and how you handle having a baby and also having a business in the same time. So thank you so much. I have 3 questions that I usually use as my end screen of the my whatever ritual, whatever you want to call it. And the first one would be, what is a motto or a saying that you live by?
I would hate to say fake it till you make it.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I feel that we're all, that's why we're misfits, because we're all fake until we make it.
In a way, fake it till you make it, because one thing that I've realized is stepping into big rooms. Like, I know I was super intimidated. We've worked with 3 unicorns so far, or maybe actually, no, we were talking this morning, I think it was 6. So we've worked with $6 billion companies so far. And this started when I was filming videos for you. I was filming them in my kitchen with my vlogging camera, my $500 vlogging camera. Yeah. And people were asking me like, wow, your studio's so beautiful. Like, where are you working? I'm like, I remove my dining room table and I make it, And I think just allowing space for yourself to understand that everyone starts somewhere and we're all people, and no matter the monetary value that people have or whatever, everyone has something to say, and you totally deserve to be in those rooms as well. Like, just because somebody is in a different position than you doesn't mean that you don't deserve to be there. So actually the motto I have gone by all year has been take up space, just because it's good to be yourself and to take up that space in the room. You don't have to make yourself any smaller. You don't have to believe that you're not good enough. So just take up space and fake it till you make it, because if you keep grinding and you keep doing the work that you love, you're going to make it.
Very true. I love that take up space. I love that saying. And the second one was, what's a book that changed your life, be it professional or personal?
I think there are a couple of different books that I really enjoy. So right now I am about halfway through Atlas of the Heart. And like I said, I love people and I love to understand where they're coming from. So whenever people are talking to me, I can always kind of see like a background behind it. If someone comes off hurt or just a little bit abrasive, I always can think like, okay, there's something bigger going on there. So I love Atlas of the Heart because it kind of just dives into the places that we go when we're feeling hurt or when we're feeling happy. And so it kind of just explains that social interaction. So I really like that book a lot. And at the same time, I love anything from Dr. Daniel Amen. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he also is all about mental health and physical health and how they coincide, and they can either make or break you. And so I love looking into all things health to help our family and help my friends. And those are the things that I enjoy.
Perfect. And then the last bit, which is, what's a habit that you advocate for, a good habit that you advocate for?
I think there are a lot, but I think getting offline and spending time with family is so important. Drinking lots of water. I'm a big advocate in water. If there's a headache, drink water. If you're feeling sick, drink water.
Reminds me of water.
Yeah. And just being disciplined, doing things even if you don't feel like it, because your emotions are going to change. There are going to be days when you feel like you can be on top of the world, or days you feel like you want to quit. And so just going against that, like just that human innate nature of feeling like, okay, today I don't feel like doing it. Obviously respect what your mind and your body is asking you for, but also don't do a disservice to yourself by just going by how you feel. Discipline is super important.
Yeah, very true. Well, thank you so much. This was a
Absolutely.
lovely
Thank you for having
conversation.
me.
There you go. And
Hope
look,
to see you in Romania in the next upcoming future.
yes, eventually I'll make my way
Yes.
down those realms again.
Bring Nikki and the dogs and we'll all go for a nice camping trip.
Yes, we'll do. And yeah, looking forward to have a chat with Andrea as well later this week.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you.
Woo.